to this special edition of Leaders in Coffee, a virtual edition, getting ready for this campaign season. We are joined today by mayoral candidate Esteban Steve Bovo. Welcome, Commissioner Bovo.
Thank you, Ariel. Good to see you and appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and your audience.
Absolutely, and we appreciate you coming back. You joined us at Bashur. Unfortunately, no good pastries today.
No, that's awful. We have not progressed then, my friend.
Commissioner, what motivated you to run for mayor?
You know, Ariel, I seen in our county a kind of like a progression where we're getting away from the purpose of county government. You know, I've always felt that local government was built to provide service. And those services are fundamental, I think, for many residents in our community. So whether it's police, fire, whether it's water and sewer, street repair, you know, picking up your garbage, that's what local government was designed to do. And what we're seeing is increasingly forces that are trying to push our local government to be more involved in what I would call, you know, social engineering, fixing the social situations in our community, which I think are better suited for society to fix, not government. And that to me is really the generator of running. You know, let's protect the taxpayer, let's protect the small business owner. I could not have predicted back in October when we launched our campaign that COVID-19 was going to be so disruptive, and probably speaks even more now to my campaign about making sure that the property taxpayer is getting the services that they expect with the money that they're paying.
Speaking of property taxes, you have spoken about keeping taxes low. We have seen a large number of outsiders coming to South Florida, buying new properties, and it's driving our property values up. How can we do something about that to not affect our local residents who have been living here for years and are being affected by these driving forces on property prices?
Yeah, that's a tough situation. And how do you do it when everything is based on, you know, highest and best use? And, you know, usually our property values are skewed by the latest price that something has been bought at, right? And it is a problem. It is a problem because it's affecting a lot of us, maybe inflating. And that's something that we have to work with the property appraiser's office to keep it in some sort of semblance of reality, right? Where you know, we don't let these things go awry. In many cases, maybe we should calibrate and address the issues of those that are homes where people don't live in their homes, where they're, you know, they live someplace else, whether it's a foreign country or someplace other than Miami-Dade. And maybe we should look at those differently. But that would take a collaboration, I think, with the property appraiser's office. You know, when we talk about the issues of taxes, though, I'll tell you, when I talk to homeowners, and I asked them a very basic and fundamental question: are you paying too little in taxes? The answer is never yes, I pay too little. It's the contrary. And you know, that's where I think we need to address to make sure that the taxes that you are paying are being invested in the right way. And to me, you know, that right way is the basic needs that we have that help spur our economy. You know, safe neighborhood, safe streets brings economic development, brings opportunity. I think that's where we should be investing our tax dollars to make sure that it benefits the taxpayer and the residents of Miami-Dade.
Speaking of safe streets, Black Lives Matter has become a huge issue in this campaign, something that really wasn't predicted last time we spoke. What do you think about the protests that have been taking place in South Florida, and how do we unite this community?
Yeah, so I think we need to look at Black Lives Matter almost as two separate entities, okay? The statement that Black Lives Matter is obvious to all of us. You know, I believe in the sanctity of life. I believe in the sanctity of life from the womb on. And so absolutely, the life of Black residents matter, no doubt. And I don't think that's questionable. The BLM movement, though, and what has happened to it, in my opinion, has been hijacked by forces that are, you know, those that I don't think care much about our community. And I don't think they care about, you know, racial issues of equality and dealing with systemic racism. On the contrary, I think they are folks that take full advantage of a situation, and we see it now. And I would tell you, I would in fact challenge many that a lot of the the violence we've seen in these so-called BLM movements are being carried out by white kids, not African Americans. In fact, the tradition in our communities, I think the tradition of civil rights movements in the United States, African Americans have done so in a peaceful way. I mean, Martin Luther King set a trend, and everything I've seen since then have usually been peaceful demonstrations. This is not to equate a reaction to something that happens. I'm talking about when African Americans have come forward to try to push social change. It's usually done in a peaceful way. But what we're seeing here, I don't think is that. I think it's it's a lot of very well-to-do latte limousine liberals that are trying to hijack a movement and do it in a violent way, and are doing an injustice, to be perfectly honest with you, with what I thought could have been a very productive dialogue in our community.
I see you're on the road. Traffic is an issue that definitely affects Coral Gables. What's your plan to address our traffic concerns?
Yeah, we could probably do 2-hour segment on this and still not put a dent into it. You know, we're paying the price for poor planning over the span of 40 years, 50 years. We've built car-centric, car-friendly. Everything we see in our community is all hinged on the vehicle. And you see it in surface parking lots. You see it in the way we've developed all our strip malls. In order for us to be able to do an adequate move on transportation, we're going to have to merge development and transportation together. We're going to have to create a system that takes people where they want to go. And the only way to do that is look at existing corridors now, whether it's the busway down south, which we're going to have a BRT, and that's a rapid bus system that is really doesn't stop at an intersection, with platforms and stations that'll bring future development that people could literally walk to the station. You're going to see things in Northeast Florida, development of stations that I think is going to spur economic development along the northeast part of our county. 27th Avenue is ripe for a transit system that takes you to the stadium. Same thing east and west. You know, it's crazy not to think that we have a transit system into the Doral area, which is our economic engine. To me, all these are things that we could do in different ways, not to mention connectivity to the beaches. And we could do it in some cases, public-private partnerships. In other cases, helping put some of our own capital in play. But make no mistake, Ariel, if we ever want to see a change in dynamic as far as movement in Miami-Dade and opportunity in Miami-Dade, it needs to be done via transit. We need to build a better transit system in order to allure the Google of tomorrow to put a footprint in Miami-Dade and really diversify our job market.
And one large issue that's been affecting us over the last couple of weeks is Biscayne Bay. The issues with Biscayne Bay over the last few months. Coral Gables in particular has a large area that's coastal affected by this issue. Coral Gables and other municipalities have tried to take a stand on fertilizers in particular, affecting our environment. What can we do as far as Miami-Dade County land? Because a lot of these municipal plans don't affect Miami-Dade County properties that are in these areas. What can we do from a county standpoint to affect these issues?
Yeah, and I think all of the above and a couple of other things that we need to look at. But I think, you know, looking at the fertilizer use and the proper use of fertilizer, I think is important. Obviously, it's a little different when you're talking about the ag areas, but I think it's important that we look at it for, you know, home-based consumption, and how do we, you know, are there safer ways of doing it? I will tell you that as a conservative, I would tell you that the beaches and our bay, just like our Everglades, are all economic engines. And we need to look at them as economic engines. You know, the jobs that they produce are immense. I've got a brother-in-law who hasn't worked in 5 months, and he works in the hotel industry. And I can see, you know, when you close down the economy, especially the tourist end of our economy, the devastation it could have. But I would tell you, beach renourishment, we need to look at our water sewer system, any leaks in our system that could bleed into the bay. We need to look at septic tanks across the board. You know, I've worked with Senator Diaz and Representative Avila. They've worked on some legislation that could create some alternative funding sources precisely so we could address the issues of septic tanks. You know, we don't have a proper inspection system right now of our septic tanks. In fact, I don't know if we could even tell you, you know, globally, how our septic tanks are doing. We know some of them have collapsed. That means raw sewage is going right into our groundwater. I mean, Ariel, these are issues that, in my opinion, fundamentally are critical. We know that the bay, a healthy bay, leads to a lot of economic development. If you look at all those apartments, buildings, and condos, that's because of the water. And so these are economic drivers. This is the goose that lays the golden egg, and we got to take care of the goose, because people come to South Florida because of our natural wonders and beauty. And if we don't take care of it, then we're doing a disservice to future generations.
First 100 days of a Bovo administration, what can residents expect?
I think we got to get our economy open. I think that has to be priority number one. We need to do it in a safe way. We need to collaborate with all the cities, the mayors and administrators of all the different municipalities to come up with a way that we could open our economy in a way that keeps our residents safe and the employees in those establishments safe. Doing it at 50% is not enough. We need to work our way to get it to a 75 or 80% opening in our community. So I would tell you, opening up our economy is fundamental number one, 2, and 3. And once we get past that, then we can start addressing, I think, the issues that we've just talked about, whether it's housing, whether it's, water issues or transportation. But fundamentally, we just need to get back to a normal. We need to get our kids back at school and do it in a safe way, and do this in a way that we collaborate and understand none of these things are partisan issues. This is just life issues. These all issues, as far as I'm concerned, are must-do issues in our community.
To those undecided voters, any closing message?
Yeah, our services that we provide you as a county are not measured in red or blue. They're measured in green, and the county's responsible to making sure that the issues that are most close to you, that impact you on a daily basis, we make sure they're done in a transparent way. I want to be mayor for everybody, and I want to be as much mayor as I want to be for the Haitian community, for the Cuban community, Colombian community, and I understand the task at hand. I'm from this community, and I want us to just kind of realign our county government on what it was meant to do. And if we do that, I think we could be a prosperous county. And let's remind ourselves, back in January, we're about 1% unemployment. There's no reason we can't get back there quickly, because everything that's happened since then has been induced by government. It's not because the economy went bad. It's by government doing a self-induced coma. We need to get out of that coma, and we need to get back to work, get people back on their feet. And the quicker we do that, the better off we're going to be.
Commissioner, thank you so very much for joining us on Leaders in Coffee here on Gables Insider. We know your time is valuable. We appreciate you coming out to Coral Gables to speak with us.
Thank you. Stay safe, my friend.
And thank you all for watching. Tune in next time for another Leaders in Coffee.